I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, just $14.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed because right now, every order ships absolutely free.
That's right, folks. Welcome back. It is Thursday, February 20th. I hope you're all having a wonderful day today. Thank you for tuning in. For those just popping in right now, please hit that thumbs up and share this out. We got a lot to talk about today. We got a lot of California politics. We're also waiting right now in the background. We have, looks like the Senate is done bickering over Kash Patel, and we could be getting a confirmation vote shortly. It looks, from everything we've been looking into and the yays and the nays, it looks like yay, we will have a new FBI director. I'll show you that in the background as they are entering. Let's see, where are we at? Share screen. So let's do this. So we are just waiting for that right now, and we have a show lined up for you as well. Let's see who we got in the chat. Texas RW's in the house. Trina G, Tammy Howard, Sancia. How are you, Trina? We got Stormtrooper in the house too. Yeah, I'm gonna cover a little bit about that storm. It seems like I was actually. I'll talk about it while we wait for these folks. I had some of you guys talking about this yesterday when they kicked out some of the J6ers from CPAC. And I'll tell you where my disappointment was the people that think CPAC's conservative. They tried to kick us out of CPAC in 2017. I can't remember what conservatives they kicked out in 2017. I think it was 2017, maybe 2018. It was in Dallas, Texas. We went there. That's when one of their keynote speakers was Bruce Jenner. He goes by another name now. But people were like, oh, CPAC this, CPAC that. I'm like, do you really think CPAC is that conservative? Now, don't get me wrong. Because Trump is in charge, they will move to more conservative ways. But yeah, we've seen a lot of videos down there yesterday. Enrique Tarrio and many others that were escorted out by security. But I did see that I have it up here on the screen. I can't pull it up yet. I can't remember who it was allowed back in. I don't know if they're all allowing people, if they're allowing all of them back in. But yeah, I just got to tell you, I wasn't shocked. It's CPAC. And then I seen the people out there. Some would call them, I'm not even going to go there. Again, try to keep the drama to a minimum. But some people were simping for CPAC. Oh, CPAC was front and center fighting for J6ers. What? I'll be honest. We've done a lot of stuff involved in the J6 community, covered a lot of events, been to multiple jails and everything else, and I never seen Matt Schlapp or Mercedes out there using their platform to get these people released. So, but I believe the public pressure will work on this one. But again, you have to take it with a grain of salt right now and understand that, what's the word I'm looking for? It's just like in the Republican Party. You have Republicans that we call rhinos that don't agree with everything that we know is conservative. They don't agree. I mean, it would be like saying Senator Collins didn't want J6ers in her office. Oh, that's not going to shock me. Senator Collins don't want anything conservative. Only reason she's voted a couple ways conservative is because she sees the pressure, she sees the writing on the walls, and that's why we need to continue to fight, continue to do what we do. And I think it will be fixed, at least for most of them. But again, there's also a lot of infighting. It wasn't necessarily CPAC. So we have factions in the conservative movement and the J6 movement. And I don't get into the drama, but you got this group that don't like this group, that this group wants credit for this, and this person's taking all the credit. We don't get into that. The reason why is because we wanted pardons for all J6ers. We want them to be able to go on and live a normal life. And yes, we want retribution for what was done for them. And when there's all this infighting, people focus on that than anything else. So I'll check by the end of the show. But in the middle of the show, we do have some information on that. Now, I'm going to turn this volume up here and get on with the show. Again, in the background right now is the Senate, where they're supposed to be confirming Kash Patel shortly. I heard 10:45, but they didn't stop speaking until about 10:53. It is now 11:04. So I'm going to keep this in the background. I want to say thank you, first of all, to everybody jumping in here. And do the Dems have dinos? No. So Democrats have communist, Marxist. There is no more old school liberals in the Democrat Party. There isn't. The 80s liberals that I grew up with, the 80s liberal. I mean, we played a video the other day. The original Doge King was Bill Clinton. Cigar man Bill Clinton was cutting spending, doing welfare reform. The government shouldn't be taking care of your every need for the rest of your life. It needs to be temporary, and then you need to get off that, or as the Bible says, you don't work, you don't eat. But yeah, dinos, they don't have Democrats in name only. They only have Marxist and communist anymore in the Democrat Party. KLM jumped in. APCO VAR, APCO VAR said, I saw Mitch Turtle McConnell. Goodbye. Yes, we're going to talk about that as well. Senator McConnell not going for re-election, so his last, if he makes it there, I don't think he'll make it to January 2020. Was it January 2026 or 27? I think it's 26. I don't think he'll make it there. If he does, he's going to make it there like Barbara Boxer. Oh, no, I'm sorry, Dianne Feinstein, where she didn't even know she had been in the government forever, and she didn't even know how to cast a vote anymore in the last couple months alive. And that's sad that people do this. So let's move on here. Let me make sure this is.
Mr. Kelly, no.
What's this? I'm going to hear what they're doing really quick so we don't ignore it. Nobody's in the chamber unless they're just walking in and out. Heard Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kelly. No, let's just look at this for one moment.
Mr. Ricketts, aye. Mr. Blumenthal, no. Mr. Deans, aye. Mr. Justice, aye.
Okay, they're starting to mosey on in there.
Miss Cantwell, no. Mr. Graham, aye. Miss Collins, no. Mr. Marshall.
And I don't know if True Breed's in here, but if you know, you know from yesterday.
Aye. Mr. McCormick, aye.
Oh man, good cup of
Schumer,
coffee
Mr.
right
Schumer.
here.
No. Mrs. Gillibrand, Mrs. Gillibrand. No. Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Sullivan. Aye. Mr. McConnell, Mr. McConnell. Aye. Mr. Wyden, Mr. Wyden. No. Ms. Alsobrooks, Ms. Alsobrooks. No.
Trying to see what they're doing here. This is probably some.
Mr. Kramer, Mr. Kramer. Aye. Ms. Blunt Rochester, Ms. Blunt Rochester. No. Mr. Kim, Mr.
So
Kim.
we'll keep this
No.
on in the
Mr.
background.
Merkley, Mr. Merkley. No.
Yes, some coffee and a great
Mr.
mug,
Langford,
Stormtrooper.
Mr.
You might
Langford.
remember this.
Aye.
You might remember that that day right there. The bitch in a ditch,
Mr. Kane, Mr. Kane. No.
right outside Bunker Hill. Me and Stormtrooper are gonna have to go do something together. I'm telling you.
No. Ms. Hirono, Ms. Hirono. No.
Rockstar says Benny is with two senators live that say if it's a tie, JD Vance will come in and be the tiebreaker. That would be epic. Remember, Kamala Harris was the tie-breaking vote in the Inflation Reduction Act, which caused almost 10% inflation in this country.
Mr. Heinrich, Mr. Heinrich. No. Ms. Cortez Masto, Ms. Cortez Masto. No. Mr. Rounds, Mr. Rounds. Aye. Mr. Moran, Mr. Moran. Aye. Mr. Reed, Mr. Reed. No.
So I will check back on that in a few minutes. Let's get on to the show. Where am I going to save this? All right. Let's move across. As we mentioned earlier, breaking Senator Mitch McConnell. Senator Mitch McConnell, so good that he's going to be gone. Listen to this.
Gratitude.
Malfunctioning Mitch.
To the distinguished members of this body, I've had the privilege to lead, and I remain deeply, deeply grateful. Today, however, it's appropriate for me to speak about an even deeper allegiance and even longer standing gratitude. 7 times, my fellow Kentuckians have sent me to the Senate. Every day in between, I've been humbled by the trust they placed in me to do their business right here. Representing our Commonwealth has been the honor of a lifetime. I will not seek this honor an 8th time. My current term in the Senate will be my last.
Yes.
To the distinguished members of this body, I've had the privilege to lead, and
it will be his last. He is not going up for re-election. Longest serving Senate party leader in U.S. history. And all I got to tell you is while he was leading the Republican Party, we suffered. We suffered. So I'm glad to see that he's gone. I'm glad to see that hopefully, I like Kentucky, but I don't know how you guys put him in there so many times. I really don't. Let me pull this back up and see where we're at. Looks like they're starting to fill in there, so we'll keep that.
Ms. Baldwin. Ms. Baldwin, no.
So if we do this, so we got some news. So you guys know, and we've covered the crap hole that California is becoming. We have a major majority Democrat elected officials in California. One of the things that we have covered extensively was the high cost of electricity in this state. I am a PG&E customer. Just in 2024, we got 6 price increases that California Public Utilities Commission approved. Now, the Public Utilities Commission, all the folks on that commission were appointed. You know how they say nobody elected so-and-so, nobody elected Elon. Well, nobody elected anybody on this Public Utilities Commission. They were appointed by Gavin Newsom. And yesterday there was a little hearing. And I'm a little frustrated with even people on the right stating that, Democrats are tired of it. So Democrats know the writing on the walls and the pollings that people are having their PG&E shut off, their electricity in California because they can't afford it anymore. There is major crises around the valley, around the state. We've even had, we had that restaurant, local restaurant in Clovis that we covered. Their PG&E bill for the month was $25,000. It had never been higher than $11,000, even $11,000 a month to run a restaurant. You're like, what? But yesterday, the Democrats pretended to demand answers. Take a look at this. Again, not elected, appointed by Gavin Newsom.
Right. Some of this work could have been done earlier.
California Public Utilities Commission President Alice Reynolds in the hot seat in the state Senate.
And I don't feel like you answered my question. Should we be shifting some of the burden to shareholders instead of putting it all on ratepayers?
Certainly open to, legislative, if the legislature has ideas on that.
They questioned her about California's largest investor-owned utility company, PG&E, and the 6 rate increases Reynolds and the CPUC approved in 2024.
6 rate increases, guys. This is when we talk about what's going on in California, when we talk about how unaffordable it is to live in California, we have a Democrat supermajority in California. 6 rate increases. And now Democrats are like, we want to know why. Again, it's one of the things that people don't talk about is the things that they make you know how government does. You know how Trump right now and his administration, and we're going to talk about high-speed rail in a minute, how Trump sits there and he's like, why would you do this? That does nothing, right? There goes another 30 million. There goes another 50 million. Well, it's the same thing that the Public Utilities Commission and Democrats have forced these electricity companies, gas and electric companies, to do. Do things that aren't going to make much of a difference, but they can go to the consumer and say, well, we took these power lines and we spent $72 million to put them underground for 72 residents up here in the mountains. Wait, that's not going to do anything. Listen to the rest of this.
So we're approving work for the utility, the work that the utility is requesting to do. It is paid for by ratepayers.
Okay, but what is PG&E's pay into this, or any of the other companies, when you're saying you're analyzing what they're paying into versus what a ratepayer is? Ratepayers are not a bank. I will say I'm deeply disappointed in the fact that ratepayers are being treated like a endless bucket of money.
Reynolds.
Oh my gosh, cry me a river. You could have done something about it before the 6th rate increase of 2024. But now that your constituents are outraged, because even those that are pretty well off, it's cutting into their Friday fund. And they're calling up, the Democrats are calling up, hey, why is my PG&E bill? We had a PG&E bill over the summer that was, $864 for 1 month. When we moved into this house almost 10 years ago. Our average PG&E was like $234 a month. Almost $900 over the summer. So much so that now PG&E, when you log on to pay your bill, and people are so far behind, they're giving you over 2 years. They're giving you monthly payments. So if you owe $2,500 right now on your back PG&E, you pay this month's PG&E, and you can pay $100 a month for 25 months. That's how bad things are in California. And these Democrats pretending like they care make me sick.
Did not directly respond to many of these questions.
How do you feel when you see these massive profits that have been described by some of the utilities on the backs of massive increases that we keep passing on to ratepayers? What is that? How do you square those in your own work?
So, I mean, I sometimes feel like we're the only ones trying to protect ratepayers. You should ask the question to PG&E, but if you're asking whether it's easy to see, no, it's whether it's easy to see rates going up.
They're private companies. Their job to make a ton of money for their.
Oh, did you listen to what she says here at the end?
PG&E, but if you're asking whether it's easy to see, no, it's whether it's easy to see rates going up.
You should ask PG&E. Guess what? PG&E couldn't have raised their rates. And again, I'm not defending PG&E, but there's a reason why PG&E's had to raise rates. When you look at the restrictions and the regulations put on them and how much money they have to spend to do some of this construction and do jobs that are not going to make a difference, aren't going to prevent wildfires, aren't going to do anything, but Democrats say, well, we need you to do this. And then the PUC says, 6 rate increases in 2024? Go for it. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Not to mention, there's a lot more that goes on. Let me check this out really quick. Make sure this is live. Yep, nothing going on there. We're keeping an eye on the background if you're just joining us for the Kash Patel confirmation. We will be covering it. Hopefully it happens soon. Listen to this. Listen to this portion. Again, I want to show you this because these Democrats are the reason why our rates are so high.
Those on a fixed income or senior population, those on Social Security, those with a even union job, a good paying union job, do not get 6 increases to their pay. And yet PG&E gets 6 increases to be able to toss on to ratepayers. Can you explain? So we're approving work for the work that the utility is requesting to do. It is paid for by ratepayers. Ratepayers are not a bank. I'm just going to be very clear.
So again, she brought up, and again, she doesn't care. She's an elected official. What has she done to stop this? And when when that lady from the California Public Utilities Commission says they got to do work, that is work that California has mandated them to do. And it's just like everything else here. When it comes down to it, now PG&E is no angel, and I'm not trying to make it out to that. But if you owned a cable business and everybody was getting cable, but there was a problem in a certain area, say you had 5 areas and area 3 had a problem, you just need to fix area 3. When Democrats get involved, they're like, what are you doing to area 3? Well, you need to do that to areas 1 through 5, which, what does that do? 5 times the cost. Rather than 1 area, you're doing it in 5 areas. And this is what people don't understand. There's not been that, I'm hoping eventually Trump will get to this and start investigating what's going on. You see yesterday the congestion pricing that he said, no more. This is part of a federal thing. We gave you funds for this area. We're not gonna allow this. Kathy Hochul said, we're suing you. Today, we're gonna get into this. Secretary Sean Duffy went to Los Angeles to talk about an audit on the high-speed rail. The one that was only supposed to cost $33 billion. It's a boondoggle, folks. we just continue to shoot ourselves in the foot, and it's just nuts. And look at this. Look at this. Again, these senators think we're stupid. Senator Jerry McNerney, PG&E pocketed $2.4 billion in profits last year after the CPUC approved 6 rate hikes on California families. It's time for shareholders of utilities like PG&E to share the cost of expensive upgrades rather than forcing ratepayers to shoulder the burden. Spare me. Where have you been? Now that the community's outraged, you're going to pretend that you're doing something, Mr. Jerry. We've been outraged for a while. And we had the highest inflation over the last 4 years. Our grocery prices went up 46% in some areas. Our PG&E 6 rate increases. And there's more scheduled. You can't make this stuff up. California is a laughingstock. Now, a lot of people don't know this. But where does your money go when it goes to the bill? And I'm going to do a whole story on this. We've touched basis on it. We've done stuff. I want to do a whole show just on that. Did you know a little under, I think it's 33 to 35% of your bill. So if I have a $300 bill, let's say 35%. So what is that? $105 of that bill goes to subsidize solar? Yes, it goes to subsidize solar, folks. This is the craziness we talk about. It's not just all PG&E. It's how we do it. I put this up on here. This 8.5 impact on the average bill. They say the average bill is about $300 a month in California. That means that's average. That's your 1-bedroom apartment. That's your studio apartment, averaged up to your 4- and 5-bedroom house. That it's $300, which is still the highest in the nation. Per household subsidy. Per household subsidy. So you're subsidizing solar. It's almost $1,000 a year is what you're subsidizing in solar. And some estimates have it much higher than that. This is just, it's almost impossible to live here. But again, California is a beautiful state. Our politics suck. Let me jump over here on the confirmation and see what's going on. There's people starting to sit down, so maybe that's a good sign. We'll get on to something. We'll do the next story, and then we'll check back in with them. Let's see what the next one is. So today we tweeted out on X, Secretary Sean Duffy will be in Los Angeles this morning to give a press conference on California high-speed rail project that was supposed to be complete in 2020. If you've been here, and we've talked about it a lot. Again, it's the same thing with the NGOs. A lot of this money has been funneled through buddies of Democrats, buddies of Gavin Newsom. In 2020, according to what was sold to the California voters, I should have been able to take, quote, high-speed rail, which it was never going to be high-speed. They lied to you about that because of all the stops. I should be able to take high-speed rail from San Francisco to LA. It was supposed to have an original cost of $33 billion, be completed in 2020. We are now in 2025. Not 1 foot of track has been laid. I actually meant to go out last Saturday and do some videos of all this stuff. All it's done is, again, pad the pockets to certain groups. Well, Secretary Sean Duffy came in here, and if you remember, a couple of weeks ago, Trump was in the Oval Office giving out interviews, and one of the things he's mentioned is the high-speed rail and how it needs an audit. Where is that money going? Because a lot of federal funds go to the construction of high-speed rail. Listen to this here.
I'm going to exercise my authority as the Secretary of Transportation. I'm going to direct the Federal Railroad Administration, or FRA, to initiate a compliance review of funding to the California High-Speed Rail Authority. This review is going to focus on that $4 billion, and it was for 2 construction projects as part of the Merced to Bakersfield construction. This is going to help determine whether billions of dollars in taxpayer money should remain committed to California's high-speed rail. And we're going to look at whether California high-speed rail has actually complied with the agreements that they've signed with the federal government. And we can't just say we're going to give money and then not hold states accountable to how they spend that money. Are they spending it per the agreements that they've made with the federal government? And I think as we looked over the last 4 weeks, 5 weeks, I think there's a demand by the American taxpayer to make sure the money is being spent well.
So they're going to find all kind of things that aren't too friendly to high-speed rail. And I'm glad they're doing this. I love how Trump is going into the states. Yeah, states have rights, but when they're getting federal funding, you can't use that money to just take care of certain industries, certain people. Scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. And when this investigation comes out, you're going to see that they did not agree. They did not hold up to the agreement to get the $4 billion on 2 projects from Bakersfield to Merced. Again, guys, I can tell you over the years, I worked in an area that was affected by high-speed rail. So I frequented a lot of those places. We had restaurants shut down forever because they were moving them with eminent domain. There was a lot of fights, farmland, taking away farmland to build this. And a lot of the reasons that people are laughing at high-speed rail now, originally it was going to go to San Francisco to LA. You could say, that's pretty cool if you're going to be, driving and it's you can get on a train and it's high speed. But the fact is, it wasn't truly a high speed rail. They had so many stops, and it wasn't going to get you there much faster than a car. And then when Gavin Newsom came in, he said, you know what? We're going to do it Bakersfield from Merced. Now, if we go to Bakersfield, we go to Merced quite a bit. We actually have Amtrak, and it wouldn't be much faster than Amtrak for the billions of dollars they have spent. Again, that was originally supposed to cost the California taxpayers $33 billion. Now it's estimated at $128 billion. And what's interesting is a lot of these lawsuits that they were fighting came from the people on the left that want mass transit, that wants you to put your car in the garage or sell your car and let the government drive you everywhere you need to go. And they started suing. Oh, well, we can't do it here. We can't do it here. It was, again, and a lot of these places, these NGOs that were suing, again, get grants from the government. So your tax dollars are going against your tax dollars. And we're seeing this too much. I think we have another story on that later today, but it has to do with the illegal invasion and an NGO that's using your tax dollars to sue the Trump administration. Imagine that. Let's check this out where we are right now. Hold on. Let's see what this trader is saying.
If you think it's a good idea to go after the criminal gangs that have come here over the years illegally, then you're right. To my Democratic colleagues, you should be working with us, not against us. Everybody should want to clean up the mess of the last 4 years. Everybody should want to go after criminal gangs. Everybody should want to secure the border because it's a national security nightmare. And nobody should want the dilemma of a nation having to let somebody go who could potentially be dangerous because you have no place to put them. This $175 billion will allow the most transformational border security bill in the history of the country.
So they're talking
Great news.
budget talks. Let me check something out on here. Maybe they've pushed it off a little while. Senate. Let's see what this one. Says he was confirmed. Where was he confirmed at? Maybe we missed it. Let's find out. Easiest way to find out. I was working on the show, guys. I was busy. I would have thought it would have been popping up everywhere if he got confirmed. Come on. That'd be great news. That'd be great news. We could celebrate. Yes, it was. Let's pull this up. We missed it. That's what they were voting on. That's what they were counting the votes on. They just didn't have the people in there. So 51-49, nomination of Kash Patel of Nevada to be director of the FBI. Oh, man, I can't wait. I can't wait for the rhinos and all these Democrats, the liberal tears. I don't know where you guys live, but if you live in a blue area, grab your life raft because they are going to hate life. They are going to hate life right now. So we get to move on with our show. That's good. And we got a lot still to cover on the show. So that is great news. Breaking news. Kash Patel was confirmed. I love it. I love it. I love it. JD Vance was over at CPAC and he had some great comments. And we're going to play some of those comments from CPAC for you. Take a listen to this. Let me pull this up on the screen here.
To young men is don't allow this broken culture to send you a message that you're a bad person because you're a man, because you like to tell a joke, because you like to have a beer with your friends, or because you're competitive. It's
somebody's saying this was the culture vote and the confirmation vote is in 10 minutes. Let me check that out because where I'm getting that from, that he is confirmed and the next FBI director is from Trump. So I'm pretty sure I'll check it out after we do the JD Vance stuff. Listen to this, though. Listen what he's telling young men.
to young men is don't allow this broken culture to send you a message that you're a bad person because you're a man, because you like to tell a joke, because you like to have a beer with your friends, or because you're competitive. It's our message, the cultural message, and I think the president's and mine is the exact opposite, but our cultural message is, I think that it wants to turn everybody, into whether male or female, into androgynous idiots who think the same, talk the same, and act the same. We actually think God made male and female for a purpose, and we want you guys to thrive as young men and as young women, and we're going to help with our public policy to make it possible to do that.
Great to hear that. And once again, Pixie is confirming that Kash Patel has been confirmed of the director at FBI. That is awesome. I'm just going to take a minute in between this. We got another video coming up from Vice President JD Vance. But think about it. When there was all these nominations and we were like, is Trump going to go politically correct? Is he going to go easy? He didn't on any of them. And he's gotten, so far, every one of his confirmations approved. There's been some hiccups with Tulsi. There's been some hiccups with Kash Patel because they were trying to delay. But now I can't wait to see that video of Kash Patel being sworn in. And I can't wait until he makes an appearance in that FBI building. I know there's a lot of FBI agents out there sweating bullets. What's the one? Corey Ledbetter, hopefully in Fresno. If he hasn't already been fired, hopefully he's gone. He's the one that is responsible for putting Benjamin Martin in jail pretty much, and doing everything they can to prosecute J6ers. So it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. I was telling a story to Will Johnson was on the phone with me last night. We were doing some technical stuff, and we were joking. We talk about there's some people that were at J6, that were definitely not feds at the time, but once they got caught roaming around inside, they turned over and pretended like they were patriots, but still never supported the Patriots. You can go through their timelines of J6, and I was like, you know what? I'll be honest. Kash Patel gets confirmed, and the FBI knocks on my door saying, "Hey, we need a little work from you." I'd be like, "Let's go." But anybody that worked under the Biden administration and worked for the FBI that put everybody away, you're a traitor. You're a traitor. You might have been a Beto supporter at one time, but you'll always be a traitor. Check this out. Check this out. J.D. Vance torches CNN. Take a listen.
I don't even think we can keep track of all the things you all are doing. In fact, I don't even think the press can keep track of all they're doing. I mean, they talk about the shock and awe strategy. Seriously. So when you're looking at this list after list after list, what stands out to you?
Well, speaking of the press, I do think that we've had maybe more executive orders than CNN has viewers. So hello to our friends at CNN. I actually think that their plan was they were going to go all in on anti-Trump and hope that he could save CNN in the same way that he did, frankly, in 2017, because nobody really watched the network until he became president in 2017.
This is so great.
Maybe the one thing I think the president has been unable to save CNN's ratings over the last few months. But look, I think that what the president has tried to do is recognize that we have a historical mandate on a few issues. We have to secure the southern border, and thanks to his actions, border crossings are down well over 90%, and we're just getting started. He recognizes that we have to really unlock the engine of American growth. We've got to get back to having a growing economy that creates good jobs and high wages for the American people. And a lot of that goes back to drill, baby, drill. We've done more on energy under President Trump's leadership than I think any administration in history, and that's not an exaggeration. And of course, we're going to do more. And I think the third thing that he's tried to do, of course, with the help of Elon and all the great folks at Doge, is ask, what are we doing with all of the American taxpayers' money, and why are we wasting so much of it on garbage that the American people either aren't aware that we're spending it on or don't want to be spending it on in the first place? Like, for example, the stuff that we've figured out, Mercedes, is unbelievable. Why are we spending money on progressive modern art projects centered around toilets in Afghanistan? That's actually something that your tax dollars were funding until very recently. And I think all of us are sitting around and asking, what the hell have we been doing with the American people's money for the last 4 years? Let's turn off the spigot and spend the American people's tax money.
Amen. Amen. And that's what we're seeing through Doge and everything else. And it's wonderful that we continue to see this. And it's just like, man, when you think about it, I think it's today, or by the end of the week, I think it's today it's starting, but over 3,500 IRS employees gone. We need to cut government. Our government has been too bloated. We continue to hire. We covered that through the Biden administration. They would say they got like 100,000 new jobs and 65,000 of them were government employees. The other 35,000 were from foreign-born people, not American citizens. This needs to end. So this is from Richard Barnett. And I'll look right now because we have been talking about it at CPAC. Yesterday, you had some J6ers that were escorted out. They had already had their tickets, already had everything. And when they got there And we talked about it earlier in the show. I don't know how much in detail, but this was Richard's post right here. Well, they couldn't take the heat. Thanks all. Looks like he's back in, and that was at 9:07 a.m. So that was a couple hours ago. Let me pull this up here. Let's see if some others posted anything, if it was everybody. Yeah, I don't see the other ones. Let's see. He got back in. So no, some of them have been let back in, not all of them. And again, so I wanna tell you the reason why I was disappointed in some of the comments yesterday. I said it at the beginning of the show. I've been to CPAC a few times, but that anybody would be surprised that CPAC, of all things, would kick out conservatives. We were there in 2017 or 2018. They tried to kick us out. They kicked out other conservatives. Their speaker, one of their headlining speakers was Bruce Jenner. But to think that CPAC is this hardcore conservative, no, they're not, guys. They're what I call establishment Republican. And now with Trump back in office, and again, you notice this even with what I call establishment. You guys might use the term moderate Republicans. I don't think there's any room for a moderate Republican. Either you're 100% conservative, you're 100% America first, and that's where you stand. But just like we have seen those, quote, moderate Republicans move over to the right because they see the shift, they see the movement. The Republican Party isn't the same Republican Party as it just was 2 years ago, 4 years ago, 6 years ago. Even during Trump's first term, we had the establishment Republican Party. And I don't just mean the people that are elected. I mean the people that supported Trump. I'm thinking their mindset. They were still believing CNN, MSNBC. When they seen their news article, when they went into the water cooler talk and their local newspaper was there and they're reading it, they believed some of the headlines. As for today, most people don't look at legacy media as anything that's trustworthy or even newsworthy. It's a propaganda. So this party has shifted. With it, people will be riding the coattails of Donald Trump and the true MAGA people that have been here the whole time. CPAC will be one of those. You'll see them get more and more conservative. But to be surprised that CPAC kicked people out, there's also some other rumors I don't want to get into right now until I get some facts. But again, there was a lot of the booths at CPAC while we were there weren't conservative. We thought about going to this one, and I was like, the only reason I wanted to go is because I knew a lot of people that were going. And then people were also telling Trump, I'm going to be mad if you go to CPAC now because they kicked out J6ers. And I kind of had an issue with that too. And this is why. When people see Trump speak, there's a lot of true conservatives that are attending CPAC. Trump wants to speak to them. He shouldn't boycott CPAC because of what happened. Because the reason why, when those people at CPAC see the interest in Trump, and I think they know it, but you got to understand what I'm saying here. And Trump, again, is the leader of the Republican Party, the new MAGA Republican Party. And he leads like the leader of the MAGA Republican Party. You don't have a rhino up there. You don't have someone that just got into office like Trump in his first term that's like, oh, they said to pick this person. They said to pick Bill Barr. That should be good. I'm going to trust the people around me. No, now he's in there. He's seen what the deep state did to him. He sees how dirty the swamp is, and he's actually doing things to clean that up. I don't think that he should sit there and be like, oh, I'm not going. I think he should go there and address the issues that the United States is facing and what we've exposed. Check this out. This was Trump on the plane yesterday. We covered yesterday the talk about Ukraine. Trump's tweet and his speech from the day before was triggering liberals, calling him a Nazi, calling him Putin's brother. Listen to what he said on Air Force One last night.
Is there anything that you can do?
I think I'm going to resurrect it. We'll see what happens, but I'm going to resurrect it, or things are not going to make him too happy. And look, it's time for elections. Haven't had an election in a long time. It's wonderful to say, we can't have an election, but it's time for elections. And it's also time to find out what happened with all the money. Because he made the statement that half of it he doesn't know where it is or something like that. And I'd like to find out all the money that we've been sending to Ukraine, where is it? And I can tell you we're doing very well with Russia. We're going to do something with Russia that he was unable to do. We can make a deal with Russia to stop the killing of potentially additional millions of people. The soldiers. Horrible. The weaponry today is so powerful, so strong, that it's killing a lot of soldiers. And I don't want to see they're Russian and they're Ukrainian. I don't want to see those soldiers killed. They have mothers and fathers, they have sisters and brothers. I don't want to see them killed.
So there he is again saying what needs to be said. Where is our money? Everything else. MAGA metal dude. I hope that fixed it for you. Thank you for notifying me. I'll get into it in a minute, but we're going to have to change some programming here on our, fixed a lot of it. Thank you. You guys know for the last 2 weeks, we've been switching over the studio to different programs. I worked with Will Johnson last night. We got to spend some money to do some different programs, and we're going to be streaming from a different platform other than this. So that will come in hopefully within 6 weeks, we can raise the money to do that. So again, he's saying what needs to be said. Where's the money? Zelensky says he doesn't know where all the money went. He also says it's time for elections. Again, dictators don't have elections, and now you have the rhinos and the Democrats. I can't believe they're calling one of our closest allies a dictator. How is that one of our closest allies, Ukraine? What have they done for America? And an ally, it's give and take, not take. And people need to realize that too many countries have lived off the tit of the taxpayer, and it's time finally to say no more. Now, there's been a lot of talk about an audit on Fort Knox. Is there gold in Fort Knox? We don't know. We've been wanting to do this for a while. Listen to Trump speak about this on Air Force One, and I think this is going to be epic. I think it could be very detrimental to this country, though, if we go in there and it's cobwebs. I don't know what they're going to find.
We're going to go into Fort Knox to make sure the gold is there. Are they going to? You know that we're going to go into Fort Knox. Do you know about that? Sir, that was a bad bump.
Are they going to eliminate more national security positions, civilians there?
We'll see what happens. But one of the things we do want to look, we hope everything's fine with Fort Knox, but we're going to go to Fort Knox, the fabled Fort Knox, to make sure the gold is there.
Where would the gold have gone?
Where would the gold have gone?
If the gold isn't there, we're going to be very upset.
And I'm wondering, is the gold there? What do you guys think in the comments? Is the gold there? I wonder. Is the amount that's supposed to be in there? Or will we see people running like hell to countries that don't have an extradition? And then I love Elon's post. Elon said a live stream of Fort Knox would be fire. Like, I just want to put my hat in the ring. I've live streamed a lot. We've got thousands of hours of live streaming. So if you need somebody to do that, I would be honored. That would be epic. Tell me that wouldn't be epic. So Donald Trump truth, check this out. I'll be calling our great American hockey team this morning to spur them on towards victory tonight against Canada. which with far lower taxes and much stronger security will someday, maybe soon, become our cherished and very important 51st state. I will be speaking before the governors tonight in D.C. and will sadly, therefore, be able to attend. But we will be watching. And if Governor Trudeau would like to join us, he would be most welcome. Good luck to everybody. Have a great game tonight. So exciting. President Donald J. Trump. Now, we covered the other hockey game where they booed the national anthem, and there was 3 fights. I think we covered it on Monday. There was 3 fights in the first 9 seconds. Like when the puck dropped, they were throwing off gloves, and the United States won. I'm praying for another win. I'm hoping I get to watch some of it tonight. This will be epic. This will be epic. What else do we got coming up on the show? Stephen Miller was at the White House briefing today. Listen to what he says. The most historic opening in to a presidency in American history. I love Stephen Miller. I used to. I've always liked him, but man, he is fire. I started researching him. He's always been a man of character. He's been standing up for a long time, especially saying the things that need to be said.
Policies.
Take a listen to this.
It's strangled our economy. Thank you. It's great to be back. And I want to just thank you all for joining today, our 1-month celebration of the most historic opening to a presidency in American history. No president comes close to what Donald Trump has achieved over just the last 30 days. He has packed 8 years of transformative action, restoring this nation, restoring our laws, restoring fairness, restoring economic opportunity, restoring national security in just 1 month. No one in this country has ever seen anything like it. And when you look at the consequentiality and the significance and the transformative nature of the actions he's taking, it truly defies description. For example, in just one area, this nation has been plagued and crippled by illegal discrimination, diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. It's strangled our economy. It has undermined public safety. It has made every aspect of life more difficult, more painful, and less safe. He has ended all DEI across the federal government. He has terminated all federal workers involved in promulgating these unlawful policies. He has ended diversity, equity, and inclusion in all federal contracting. He has restored merit as the cornerstone of all federal policy, restored the full, fair, impartial enforcement of our federal civil rights laws for the first time in generations. And he has cracked down on individuals across this government and nonprofits who have engaged in illegal racial discrimination against the American people. This includes making clear to every educational institution in this country that ending diversity, equity, and inclusion, ending unlawful race discrimination is a precondition of receiving federal funds. He has also saved women's sports by ending the participation of men in women's sports. He has ended radical gender ideology across the entire federal government, and he's pressured the private sector to also end and combat radical gender ideology. He's reestablished the scientific and biological truth that there are only 2 sexes in this country, male and female, that those are biologically based determinations. They are not based and can never be based on gender identity. That includes rooting out of the Department of Defense all DEI policies, all critical race theory, all gender madness. And once again, having a military that is focused solely and exclusively on readiness, preparedness, and lethality. As I'm sure Kevin will talk about more, of course, he has undertaken a historic cost-cutting effort across the federal government, launching the first ever Department of Government Efficiency, uncovering corruption on a scale that we never thought imaginable, terminating every single federal worker that we have found to be engaged in the corruption and theft and the waste of taxpayer dollars, and already saving $50 billion in a single year, which over a 10-year period would be $500 billion. Just think about how vast and enormous that sum is. Of course, as you all know, he has renamed the Gulf of Mexico to its correct and proper name, the Gulf of America. He has renamed Mount Denali into Mount McKinley, part of a historic effort to restore patriotism and national pride all across
and the great
this land.
thing is that's just some of what he's done. He is restoring America back to American values. I remember the Proud Boys used to trigger a lot, even on the right, when they said they're Western chauvinists. We should be Western chauvinists. We should be proud of what our country stands for, what it was built upon, what our founders intended. And we have gone completely off the course of America first. That's Republicans and Democrats. And now Donald Trump is trying to reel everybody back in. God bless Elon Musk for what he is doing. Even some of these nominees that I don't think would have voted for either Kash Patel, Tulsi Gabbard. It was because Elon Musk said, listen, we'll primary you. I'll put so much money into your district, your head will spin. And that is huge. And what Doge has been able to do, uncovering massive fraud. Like, I mean, I don't care. I don't care what anybody says. I think the average person over the last couple of years, and I'm not talking about those that are well off. I'm talking about the average person that has a family of 3, 4, 5. When they looked at the end of the month at their budget, many people were going in the hole. We reported numerous times under Biden, highest credit card debt in the nation's history. Why? Because guess what? Everything's being charged. Everything's being charged. When it was back to school time, people, they did a survey, even Liberal News did a survey. And what was it? Some 42% of folks were having to decide between back to school supplies for their children or food on the table. That's not how America should run. And guess what Democrats are saying? Oh, they want to cut this. They want to find the waste, abuse, and fraud to give tax cuts to billionaires. No, that's not it. He does want to give tax cuts because he realizes, guess what? Under Joe Biden, real wages never went up. But when he brought companies back in from foreign countries so they would manufacture and produce here in the United States, real wages went up. There was competition here in the United States. Again, it's supply and demand, folks, when it comes to your employment opportunities. Guess what? People are saying, oh, there's jobs Americans won't do, and we're deporting all these people. I don't know of a job American won't do. If you cut off their welfare and they want to eat, they're going to do a lot. But again, we have gotten to this area of, oh, well, we can't ask them to do that. That's hard labor. I'm sorry. Then have them find another job. Have them find a job that's not hard labor. I've said this before. You always hear about reparations, everything. Both my mother and father didn't get to graduate high school. Why? Because they were in the fields picking cotton so they could supply funds to their family because they were dirt poor. That's something you had to do. Nowadays, it's like, oh my gosh. If you're not making $35 at Taco Bell, that's fascist. You're a Nazi if you don't want that person working at the Taco Bell drive-thru to make $35. We need to get that mindset gone. That is a liberal mindset. Taco Bell was not created for you to continue popping out children and be able to afford a 4-bedroom home for you and your 5 kids. Just wasn't. It's an entry-level position. When I was growing up, you know who worked at Taco Bell? And I worked at Taco Bell. I got a job at Taco Bell when I was 15 years old. It was all young and retirees. That's who was in Taco Bell. The retirees, to supplement their income, are because they were bored at staying home from work. Again, that was another generation. My grandma, after she retired, she didn't need to work. She got 2 jobs. We don't have that same mentality that we used to have. The American dream shouldn't be handed to you. I love the American dream, and the American dream is sometimes a struggle. The American dream, when you have all these people, well, this CEO's making this much money. Look at the manager of this company. I could tell you I managed companies, and you know what I had to do? I had to sacrifice my time with my family. I had to sacrifice my weekends. I was working 11 hours a day. I had to go in on Saturdays and Sundays. If I didn't, I wouldn't have been making 3 times as much as the people on the line that worked 8 hours a day. And that's just how it works. That is capitalism. That is, and if you want something in this country and you work hard, you will get it. You will get it. That is a promise. And that's what Trump wants to take it back to. Robbie Starbuck, we're going to get into some woke stuff, but Robbie Starbuck, we always talk about cancel culture, DEI. So I'll go ahead and read this to you. It says, massive news. I contacted PepsiCo to let them know that I planned on doing a story about their woke policies. When I contacted them, they were ready to make some big changes. I can now exclusively tell you what's changes. PepsiCo will no longer have a DEI officer. PepsiCo will no longer have a DEI team. PepsiCo will end DEI representation goals. PepsiCo will no longer participate in the woke HRC CEI social credit system survey. Woke trans agenda activists at the HRC are losing influence and power by the day. They will end all DEI trainings. All Pepsi company sponsorships must align with their business going forward, because these companies used to sponsor drag queens, story hours, pride parades. That has nothing to do with a beverage that you are drinking. Instead of supplier diversity, PepsiCo is now focusing on growing their small business supplier base. They will now be centralized management of all employee groups to ensure their activities align with the core business. Going forward, their strategy will be growth and how they drive growth to the business. We're seeing this from everybody. John Deere, Harley Davidson, Robbie Starbuck's done a great job. But now with Trump in office, you're going to see this. I think the only company that has said no, at least, and I don't think their DEI policies are like most. Again, we don't hear a lot about it, but was Costco. And then what was it? The churchless Reverend Al Sharpton went in there and did a press conference. Thank you for standing strong on DEI values. Now, I don't see DEI I mean, you can see DEI with a lot of companies that you deal with. Costco, I don't see that on a local level unless they're doing something wrong, because I can tell you I wear MAGA stuff to my local Costco, and I know I'm there weekly. I know most of the employees that have been there for a decent amount of time, and they all say, man, love your hat, love your shirt. And after Trump won, they were high-fiving me. So obviously, most companies are going into a transition period. They're transitioning. How funny that is. But good job on that one, PepsiCo. And he's supposed to have an expose on Coca-Cola here soon. Check this out. One of the extremely violent Portland Antifa members. You guys might remember John Hacker, the guy with a tore up face. He's been on some of our live streams when we were in Portland. He planned and assaulted numerous patriots over the time. When we were going through there on the truckers convoy, if you guys remember that, the People's Convoy, and we went through Oregon. He was one of the people on the overpass throwing things down. Well, we covered, let me pull this up a little better. We covered a story where his good friend Alyssa was convicted. Again, things are slowly changing. Antifa's getting convicted in some of these areas, even in liberal Portland. Let me pull up this story. This was what happened, John Hacker, when there was, let me see. It said this was the original one. It says, breaking, Portland Antifa's John Hacker has been sentenced to jail over brutal assault outside of an Oregon courthouse. Remember, the cops came running up. They were ready for this. I'll show you the video. Take a look at this. Oh, I got to do it over here. That's John Hacker in the ball cap there.
Jail. John Hacker just assaulted someone.
In that chair. In that chair.
Well, that was nice, John.
Yes. What happened? Who threw the first punch?
As I left, I said, hey, well, you have a good one. Tapped him on the shoulder in a friendly manner. He came around, threw a drink, and then fucking punched me.
There's John going to jail that day again. One of the ones we probably have talked about over the years quite a bit in the Portland, Oregon, and everything. And he has been convicted of that, and he will be serving 5 days in jail. We would love a little more. That was reported on by Katie Davenport for the Post Millennial. And let's see. Update as of 16 hours ago. Let me pull this up. You should be celebrating wins like this. These people got away with so much over the years, and things are starting slowly, even in Oregon. And this is not Portland. This is Multnomah County. I think that's how you say it. Take a look. Update: John Hacker has been booked into jail. This is the first time he has been convicted for his criminal act of violence through the years. A face only a mother can love right there. But again, and these people had always had leftist money to defend them. These are the people like when Big D got attacked the other day outside in D.C. You've seen the Communist Lawyers Guild with the green hats. Those people support Antifa, support communism. They act like they're there for justice. These people have been funded by so many left-wing organizations. So that's two now that I know of, Alyssa and him, that have both been convicted. How about a little wokeness, man? Could you imagine every day waking up this miserable? I couldn't, because I'm waking up every day pretty happy right now. Every day, America is back on track. And take a look at this one.
Believe Trump. Yeah. And what he said is that Trump has never really wanted to be president. He actually has always wanted to be king. And he also says that his plan this time is to first play king on television. And if we believe he is already king, we will be likelier to let him govern as a king. So don't believe him, because right now what we're seeing is he's waving his scepter, his king scepter. Yeah. Congestion pricing is gone. Right. He's waving his scepter.
Although I'm pro-congestion pricing being gone, and Whoopi would agree.
I don't know. I feel like my drive-in has been a little bit easier and smoother. But, he's waving the scepter around, and people seem to think that things are happening by executive order. And I think that is his plan. He wants to run for a third term.
They're so triggered. And again, only Donald Trump, only the MAGA movement could get Democrats. Again, I always said this. I think there needs to be an executive order that Americans need to breathe oxygen, because these people would hold their breath until they died. But anything that Trump does obviously is bad. They are now defending congestion pricing, charging people $9 to drive down a road after those funds have already been funded. Supporting the IRS, defending the IRS, saying we can't let these people go. Man, Trump is it's beautiful. It's the art of the deal. And these people, I mean, listen to this. Governor Pritzker from Illinois.
Neighbors and betrayed our friends. After that, what comes next? After we've discriminated against, deported, or disparaged the immigrants and the gay and lesbian and transgender people, the developmentally disabled, the women and the minorities, once we've ostracized our neighbors and betrayed our friends, after that, when the problems we started with are still there staring us in the face, what comes next? All the atrocities of human history lurk in the answer to that question. What comes next?
Listen to what he's trying to say here.
After we've discriminated against, deported, or disparaged.
So after we discriminated against, deported, and what he was talking about were the gays, disabled, women, and minorities.
Immigrants and the gay and lesbian.
Listen, he says it right here. Hold on.
Deported or disparaged.
Watch.
Immigrants and the gay and lesbian and transgender people.
The gay, lesbian, and transgender people. So now they're going to get deported. This is the next fear tactic. And we're going to show you, again, when these people lie, what does that do to people? I want you guys to watch Trump derangement syndrome stage 4.
Unfortunately,
right
it's clear.
This is a former kicker from the Vikings. And he went to a Huntington Beach City Council meeting and was arrested. Take a listen to what this guy says. Where does he get his information? People like Governor Pritzker, CNN, MSNBC that are indoctrinating, lying, and trying to get people to be like this. This guy is a threat to that city council. Listen.
That this council does not listen, so instead I'm going to take my time to say what MAGA has stood for these past 3 weeks. Trying to erase trans people from existence. MAGA stands for resegregation and racism. MAGA stands for censorship and book bans. MAGA stands for firing air traffic controllers while planes are crashing. MAGA stands for firing the people overseeing our nuclear arsenal. MAGA stands for firing military veterans and those serving them at the VA, including canceling research on veteran suicide. MAGA stands for cutting funds to education, including for disabled children. MAGA is profoundly corrupt, unmistakably anti-democracy, and most importantly, MAGA is explicitly a Nazi movement. You may have replaced a swastika with a red hat, but that is what it is. I will now engage in the time-honored American tradition of peaceful civil disobedience. Get the heck! Get out! Unfortunately, it's clear that this council does not.
This guy has really hit rock bottom, obviously. Democrats have called for violence. They have called to bring weapons to the street. We have seen that now in the streets. We have seen, I showed you a gentleman, a disabled veteran the other day where his truck was destroyed because he had a Trump bumper sticker on there. This is the party of tolerance, folks. These are the party that's calling you Nazis. And again, this agenda has been pushed for a very long time. It has been going on every time you turn on your news, every time you send your child to school. This is what they are teaching them. And now that Trump is changing that with the Department of Education, changing that with these woke policies and DEI, it's bad. It's bad. And it's going to get worse before it gets better. That's a promise. There is a strong resistance to normalcy. There is a strong resistance to Western values, and they're going to fight tooth and nail. I thought this was a great picture. When we talk about how bad the Democrat Party has gotten, this was this morning outside of the FBI building. Take a look at that. Nobody out there. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 senators out there. There's lying pencil neck Schiff out there. He's really scared. He's really scared. I think Kash Patel is going to do a strong investigation on him. Listen to what some of the stuff he said is out there.
This is
these
someone
people
who
are
lacks the character
fighting for dear life. They are fighting for dear life. They know that their Ponzi schemes, their money laundering schemes, like to USAID, they know all this and they know it's going to be exposed. And a lot of people are worried about the Epstein client list. Because Kash Patel, it sounds like Kash Patel will release that within 10 days. We can only hope and pray. And there'll be some Republicans going down too. Take a listen to this.
Do this job, someone who lacks the integrity to do this job. We know that. Our Republican colleagues know that. The only qualification Kash Patel has to be FBI director is that when everyone else in the first Trump administration said, no, I won't do that, that crosses moral, ethical, and legal lines, Kash Patel said, sign me up. In the first Trump administration, as we are seeing in the second, you rise to the level of your sycophancy, and no one is a bigger or more dangerous sycophant than Kash Patel. This political hack does not deserve to be in this building. He can't do the job. He won't protect the public. He will misuse the resources of the Bureau. He will weaponize it against the president's political opponents rather than protecting the safety, the public safety of the American people.
You said that there was direct evidence of the fact that Donald Trump colluded with Russia back in 2016. Special counsel Robert Mueller said in his report, quote, the investigation did not establish that members of the Trump campaign conspired or coordinated with the Russian government. Republicans argue that's proof that you used your position on the Intelligence Committee to intentionally mislead Americans, which is why you should not be on that committee.
If you read the Mueller report,
this guy is, he's the biggest of all scum. He is the biggest of all scum. It's politicians like him that have put us into the position we are in. But you can't just blame the politicians. Why? Because we've been silent for too long. I've said it before, and I say it again. President Trump got elected. He got inaugurated 1 month ago. Now it's up to you on a local and state level. That means city council meetings, board of supervisors meetings, school board meetings, all those things you can have an impact in. Listen, the FBI, Kash Patel just got nominated. He has been confirmed for director of FBI. So don't worry about going to the school board meetings. They're not going to be coming at you and harassing you for speaking up for your children or your grandchildren now. We have some freedom. Our First Amendment's back. Speaking of freedoms, man, all those freedoms that illegals got. I want to cover this story I seen, and we've covered this before. It never got any traction that illegals were getting Social Security money. We also covered the fact that VA benefits were going to illegal aliens. That one hasn't came out yet since Doge, but that will be coming out. Mark my words. We can play this video again. Take a listen to this.
Half of these
When Democrats always say, well, illegals aren't eligible for Social Security, are eligible for taxpayer handouts. Yeah.
a lot of illegal immigrants are in Social Security that shouldn't be there. According to the Congressional Research Service, there are non-citizens who are eligible for benefits paid out through the Social Security Administration. 365,000 non-citizens received these benefits in December 2021, getting about $500 a month. Half of these people also collected an additional Social Security benefit, and that's what we know about that is happening legally. Democrats, in the meantime, not impressed with what Doge is finding. They want Elon Musk to testify in front of Congress.
So $503 a month to illegal aliens from our Social Security, the one that they said is going to be bankrupt in about 9 years. 54% of those that were receiving an average of $503 a month also received other Social Security benefits. Sorry. And again, we covered yesterday, and I'll read it to you now. Let me find out where I put it here. Here it is. Put it in order. Donald Trump signs an executive order to terminate all taxpayer-funded benefits for illegal aliens and end the subsidization of open borders. When this was signed, I went and talked to Rachel. You guys know we talk a lot about the future of our kids, where this country was going. And when I went and spent months and months on the border, when we started going to NGOs and exposing them, the kind of people that were behind these NGOs, they're volunteers, they're people that were paid, were all anti-American. They hated this country, whether it was Catholic Charities, Jewish Family Services, HIAS. They wanted to transform the United States into some third world country, and they've done a pretty good job of it. This is huge. This is huge. Let me show you this. It says, here is the text of the order. By the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered. Section 1, purpose. The plain text of federal law, including the Personal Responsibility and Work Opportunity Reconciliation Act of 1996, which is Public Law 104-193, generally prohibits illegal aliens from obtaining most taxpayer-funded benefits. Title IX of the PRWORA states that it is national policy that aliens within the nation's border not depend on public resources to meet their needs, and that it is compelling government interest to remove these incentives for illegal immigration provided by the availability of public benefits. But in the decades since the passage of the PRWORA, numerous administrations have acted to undermine the principles and limitations directed by Congress through that law. Over the last 4 years, in particular, the prior administration repeatedly undercut the goals of that law, resulting in the improper expenditure of significant taxpayer resources. My administration will uphold the rule of law, defend against the waste of hard-earned taxpayer resources, and protect benefits for American citizens in need, including individuals with disabilities and veterans. So this is going to be huge, folks. Again, I don't think we can even quantify the amount of money that's went out through the Biden, through Democrats, through Republicans, even in Trump's last term. I don't think we can quantify that, but what we can do is move forward, take away the incentive. Again, we always said, well, why are these people coming over? You can't blame them all. Think about it. They had incentive to come. They come to the United States. They enter illegally. They get they go to a border. They get the Uber Border Patrol. That's what they were nicknamed under the Biden administration. Now they're doing a hell of a job tracking these people down. We showed you videos. Ben Bergquam was out there the other day with Border Patrol. And what do we see? What do we see? We see them coming in here under the last administration, getting $2,000 debit cards, 4-star hotels, free education for their children, impacting our schools, free healthcare here in the United States, here in California. Sorry. What was the cost that we shared? Let me pull this up. We need to talk about this really quick. Should pull up one of my posts, hopefully at the top. $9.5 billion. Here's the story. Here's the story. For 1 year, folks. $9.5 billion for their healthcare. I'm going to be honest with you. I know a lot of people, including myself, that can't afford healthcare because, I mean, it goes back a ways, but the cost of healthcare when it skyrocketed under Obamacare, and these people can illegally come into our country and my tax dollars are paying for it. I'm a Californian. This is California. 9.5. This doesn't include the federal benefits that they were getting through Joe Biden. Take away that incentive. I think you're going to see people self-deport more now than ever before. When they don't have the hotel rooms, when they don't have the food, when they don't have all the benefits that Democrats are trying to provide when they put American citizens last, there's no reason to be here. This was from Natalie Winters. Check this out. And we've talked about this. We warned you this would happen. The day that Trump, I think it was the 21st, a day after he took office with his executive orders, once he was inaugurated, we said these NGOs are going to be using your tax dollars to sue the Trump administration and protect illegals over American citizens. These are your dollars they're using. Natalie Winters posted this. An Open Borders advocacy group is using millions of your tax dollars to sue President Trump over his immigration executive orders. Make the road New York. It says, which also published a decoration defense manual and coaches illegal aliens how to avoid ICE. Well, here's this right here. This is from this is the court filing. It says here, New Hampshire Indonesian Community Support League of United Latin American Citizens and Make the Road New York. Now, Natalie put this up as well. Here is some of the funding. Look at all this taxpayer dollars that went to Make the Road New York. Of course, they don't want this to end. This is their gravy train. 300,000, 800,000, 400,000, 400,000, 300,000. And look at what it was used for. They say it was used for education and services to reduce poverty, adult education, legal and health access services, including purchasing of equipment, citizenship instructions. These people are going to they're using your tax dollars to sue your president right now, guys. We told you it would happen. We called it on the 21st, and we're starting to see those lawsuits come in. That is awesome. I want to thank BB. BB, thank you so much for the Venmo and your donation to the Oreo Express and this platform. Thank you so much. It is appreciated. We can't do it without our supporters, guys. Without you guys, the lights turn off. We don't get to travel or do any of the live streams we do. So thank you so much for the blessings that you guys have provided. If you guys do want to donate to the channel, we need it more now than ever. Venmo at Oreo Josh, Cash App, $Oreo Army, givesendgo.com/Oreo 2024. And if you guys prefer Zelle, you can use our Zelle link, which is on our website, theoreoexpress.com. We might have some travel this weekend. I got to work with somebody to find out some stuff that's going on, but want to say thank you guys so much again for the blessing. It's an honor to be able to travel and do the things we do, and we appreciate you. Listen to Rep. Tom Tiffany here. Rep. Tom Tiffany, who has traveled out to the border numerous times, exposed what was going on in the border, is now exposing Chinese nationals. Listen to this. Listen to this. It's still going on as we speak right now. So listen to this.
This is a U.S. territory, but you say there's been a troubling rise in birth tourism there. Tell us about this.
Yeah, so if you have foreign nationals that come in via like communist China, and they come to the Mariana Islands, their child, if it's born there in the Mariana Islands, because it's an American territory, becomes a citizen. So President Obama put in place a visa-less visit to the Mariana Islands for people from communist China. Well, you had all these women that came in and had birth there, and they claimed their child as a citizen then. In fact, the births were far more for foreign nationals than there were for citizens of the Mariana Islands. We need to close that loophole, just like so many things in our immigration law. I've made a proposal to do it. I hope Secretary Noem will close that loophole.
Amen. Amen. It's representatives like that are bringing this to our attention. More births from foreign nationals than actual citizens. And we talked about it. They just busted another ring here out of L.A. What was that? 2.5 weeks ago. We covered that. We talked about it numerous times over the years. Russia's really big on that. Birth tourism. They come here to have their child so their child can get U.S. citizenship. That's not what our Constitution, that's not, again, the way they interpret this, they take something back from the slavery era where slaves, children could become American citizens. Yes, great. But that don't mean you can pop over our border or travel here, have a child, and your child becomes an American citizen. That's not going to last long, folks. But check this out. We will be live here a little later on another show. I want to say thank you so much for tuning in. There's still a lot to cover today. We've been live over an hour and a half now. We're going to get prepped for the second show. Again, thank you to everybody who subscribes. Thank you to people like Old Uncle Bill that continue to gift subscriptions. It means a lot. It helps out the platform. It pays the bill. I want to just say I appreciate you all. If you do want to contribute, we appreciate it. You can go to Venmo at Oreo Josh, Cash App, $Oreo Army, givesendgo.com/Oreo 2024. And as always, check us out on our website, theoreoexpress.com. There is a donate now button that also has a Zelle link. So we will see you guys back here in a few hours. God bless you all, and thank you for the blessings.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed because right now, every order ships absolutely free.